Glue and fit frames 3 to 12 onto the false keel slots 1, which is 1A and 1B, is essential for a good finish that the frames are 90 degrees to the false keel. To check this, we recommend you use a square included in our micro drawing set. Fit and glue 1 part 14 into the insert of the false keel in the bow areas between frames 4 and 5. Fit and glue both parts 13 into the frame inserts 9 and the second part 14 into the false keel insert 1 next to frame 9. Fit and glue 1 part 15 into the insert of the false keel 1 into the stern area next to frame 11. Okay, so unfortunately when I recorded this the first time, the recording just something happened and I've lost it, so I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to explain everything. So what we've done is we've taken the pieces from stage 3 all the way through to stage 12, and you can see that I've actually installed them, I've fitted them. Now what I've done is I've glued them in, and these need to go exactly 90 degrees. I don't have a set square, so I've actually used a ruler. I just placed the ruler in just to make sure they are fitting. All of them bar a couple were a really snug fit. I think these two were quite loose, which I was a little bit worried. In fact, this one I was a little bit concerned, so what I did was I got a clamp and then I put the clamp in like that just to stop it from wobbling, and that was where I was up to. Obviously I've allowed this to dry for well, I've allowed that bit to dry for 24 hours. Now the next bits that we've got is we have two stage 14s, two piece 14s, and they look like this. We also have a piece 15 which looks very similar. You can tell the two apart. 14 has a slightly wider gap in the middle, but just for belt and braces, I've written number 14 on those parts and 15 on this part. We've also got part 13, which I don't think they need labelling because they're so obviously different. So as I say, I've glued all of these in. The fit was absolutely lovely. So we'll get on with the next part, which is fitting stage piece 14. And what we're going to be doing is, this is going to go between 4 and 5, which is these two, and you can see there's a little slot for it. So we'll first of all we'll test fit. This is a little bit fiddly because unless you've got really long fingers, so I can see there that it goes in absolutely fine. So I'll just pop a tiny bit of dab of glue on the bottom there. I'm running out of wood glue. Now I don't know what this is for. I suspect it's got something to do with the masts. I'll just pop a little bit of glue on there. Obviously when I take these pieces off the sprues, just like I did in the previous stage, I just give them a little bit of a clean up. Any little marks that are on them, there we go. There's a little bit too much glue on there, but this is an inside piece, so I think that'll be fine. So when you get like hair, you get the little notches where it's attached to the sprue. Obviously just give them a little rub and just make sure they're flat. So make sure that goes in about 90 degrees and it goes level. A little bit too much glue in there, so it's going to make the job a little bit more difficult, but that's absolutely fine. The next one we want to do is this middle one, which is another piece 14, and that goes between number 8 and number 9. And there's number 8 and there's number 9. So again we'll do another test fit. That's fine. So small dab of glue there. Really don't need a lot of glue actually. If you put extra glue on, it'll still stick, but it'll take longer to dry. So a little bit there, a little bit there, and hopefully this one will look better than the last one. There we go, that's much better. I actually had one of these where it was wobbly. I wasn't sure if it was making contact with the wood. There you go. I think if I just leave that, that would be absolutely fine. So lastly, we're doing stage 15, which is going to go in here between 11 and 12. There's 11, there's 12, it's going to go in there, and that does to me look roughly where the masks are going to go. So I haven't really looked that far. There's the dry fit, that's fine. I haven't looked that far ahead. One of the other things I did notice, I just remembered I mentioned it on the video that got corrupted. Where these are a tight fit, if you do a dry fit, where they're so tight, it kind of scrapes along the wood, and what that does is it leaves a mark, so you now know where the contact is going to be, with you know where the two pieces are going to make contact, and because there's a mark there, it kind of gives you a glue line, so it gives you a little line to follow. So if you imagine this piece, obviously this piece goes all the way to the bottom, but if you put it in, it's gonna kind of etch a line down there, and then likewise this piece there is going to etch a line up there, and it just, it's slightly darker, and you just know where to put the glue. So it's actually use that to your advantage. So the next piece, and unfortunately is going to be the last piece of this video, are these two little piece 13s. Now beware on these, they're actually not symmetrical. If I hold them like this, you can see that one side is longer than the other, and the reason for that is because this line isn't in the middle. If you pop it in the wrong way, you need to put the longer side on the outside of the ship. If you put it on the inside, you'll see there it's not going to fit, it's going to catch on this little bit there. So you just need to glue that on like so. And I believe that this piece is going to be like a sunken piece of deck, so this is just going to add a little support to it so it doesn't slip over on one side. And all I'm going to do, just going to scrape a tiny bit of glue, make sure that this bit is flat and filed. There's a couple of little sprue marks there, so just run a little file along there, and just make sure it's absolutely flat. There you go, and that's that one in. And this one, look, longer side on the outside, like so, that's fine. I seem to be struggling to get the glue out now. I think I have to pop down the DIY shop and get some more of this. I'll have to get much bigger. If we're going to start building ships, this size wood glue isn't really going to cut it, is it? There we go. So that goes in there, and there we go, and that is it finished. Now I would leave that a minimum 24 hours. I actually left, what I find, if you want to do more work, leave it about 15 minutes. It just makes the wood glue tacky, and it will start to stick, but it really does set off. Well, I've always been told 24 hours. I will be honest with you, these parts, they were done probably about 3 or 4 hours ago, and they're pretty solid, but you know, why take that chance? I think most hobbyists, they don't necessarily get to sit down for 24 hours. Yeah, they'll come home from work, they might have an hour, so you know, work on this for an hour, pop it on your little stand, and then come back to it the next day. So yeah, that's it for this week. So next week we're going to be doing an area that kind of scares me. I'll show you the instructions because I have printed them off. Stage number 2, which is planking. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be gluing planks to, and I think we're actually going to be working on this section here. As you can see there, this is what it's going to become. So that's quite exciting. This will probably be get done over multiple portions of video. I'll do it all in one video. But it'll probably get done over multiple parts, because obviously where it glues I need to leave it a couple of hours. Because I'm going to be trimming it, I need to make sure that's solid, so I can't just leave it for a few hours. That's definitely going to be an overnight thing. then we need to sand it, then we need to varnish it. The way I varnish, I thin my varnish down. I use multiple thin coats, so that's going to take some time, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but obviously as you can see, it very quickly starts to grow. So yeah, that's it then for this week. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next week.